Hi, and welcome back to the Focal Point. AF Talk. Brian Fisher is my name. Number to call if you want to join the conversation, 888-589-8840. We've been talking in this first hour, first of all, about scientists now telling us that the speed of light may not be constant. And if it's not constant, if it varies even now and has varied in the past, then what that does is it knocks a hole in all of those assurances that we've been given that there's no question scientifically that the Earth is millions, or the universe is millions and billions of years old. All that's gone. Because if the speed of light varies, if it's not constant, nobody was around to measure the speed of light in eras gone by. Nobody was there. We have no idea what the speed of light was. If it can vary according to these factors that they're talking about today, these factors could have been in place for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. Nobody was there to measure it. Nobody knew enough to measure the speed of light. It wasn't measured for the first time until 300 years ago or so. So we have no way of knowing, absolutely no way of knowing how fast the speed of light was in days gone by. And, Albert Einstein has famously said that, look, time is relative. His theory of relativity had to do with time. That's why you had that whole movie. Remember that movie, Charlton Heston, where he's on his horse and he's on the beach and it's the Statue of Liberty? What was that one? Oh, Planet of the Apes. Yeah, Planet of the Apes was all predicated on the fact that time progresses at different rates depending on where you are in space or on Earth. That's why all of these Earth years had passed while he's out there in space. He hasn't aged much, moving much slower there. He comes back to Earth, boom, the Earth has been taken over by the apes. And that's to me is the most dramatic closing scene in cinematic history, is when he's riding his horse on the beach, falls to his knees, and you see the crumpled Statue of Liberty there behind him. But the point is, even time is relative, and that would mean all of these assurances about these millions and billions of years, all of that's going to have to be reconsidered. And then we've been talking about the horrors released by live action films, these undercover videos. A doctor in D.C., Cesar Santangelo, baby's born, survives an attempt at a medical abortion. I wouldn't help it. I'd just let it die. Exactly what Barack Obama would do as our president. And President Obama, 12-minute speech, while he's giving that speech to Planned Parenthood. Thank you, Planned Parenthood. God bless you. Planned Parenthood is out there at the same time he's doing that, killing 8 babies. Thank you, Planned Parenthood. God bless you. That is our president. So let's see what you have to say about all of this. Let's go to the phones. Let's go to John in Florida. John, welcome to Focal Point with Brian Fisher. What's on your mind?
You there?
Yes, I am. Go right ahead.
Grace and peace.
Grace and peace to you, my friend.
I would like to talk about the repercussions from abortion.
Okay.
The repercussions are so bad that it talks about the firstborn in Exodus 13. And that's killing the best of the human race.
Yes, Well, and you think about it, and I appreciate the call, John. Thank you for that. You think about the number of firstborn babies that are aborted. There's a special emphasis in the Bible placed on the firstborn, and a lot of the pagan cultures around Israel would sacrifice the firstborn because of the value that was placed on the firstborn, would offer that up to their pagan gods. And when you think about the fact that a lot of women, a lot of abortions, it's the first child that woman has conceived. It's her firstborn. That's the one that she chooses to abort. And there's a particular, I don't know what the term is, but you look at the emphasis on the firstborn in the scriptures. The firstborn sons had to be redeemed. You didn't kill it under God's economy. You redeemed it with a sacrificial animal. So anyway, that's an interesting observation, that you've got the decimation of the firstborn, which is how God struck the land of Egypt. What did he do when he wanted to bring his judgment down on the nation of Egypt and curse that land? He took their firstborn in judgment. So the sacrifice of the firstborn, the shedding of the blood of the firstborn, is a profound display of the wrath of God. And remember, we see in Romans 1, the way God displays his wrath, he just takes his hand off and lets us reap the consequences of our own behavior. Let's go to Charlie in Tennessee. Charlie, welcome to Focal Point. What's on your mind?
Hey, how you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good. I just wanted to comment on something. This doctor in Philadelphia that's killing these babies,
Yes, sir.
they said that they found no violation of law.
No, that was the doctor in Washington, D.C. That's a different doctor. And the Washington Post said, look, everything he did was legal because in D.C., which has got the loosest abortion restrictions in the country, you can abort a baby up to 24 weeks. That's a 6-week-old baby. And remember, we saw the clinic worker saying, look, that's fully developed. That's a fully developed baby. But he didn't do anything illegal in Washington, D.C.
Well, I've got one question.
Yes, sir.
Is murder not a violation of the law?
Sure, it sure is. And, you know, and that's part of where our agitation comes from. This is child murder.
Okay, well, all I got to say is, these babies are in a better place now because they don't have to live here anymore.
Yeah. All right, Charlie. Well, listen, I appreciate that. And they're, it's a terrible thing. But the early feminists like Susan B. Anthony, for instance, they referred to abortion as a form of murder. It was a form of child murder. They had no hesitation. And these were the feminists. They were saying, look, this is destroying women. Abortion is destroying women. Half of the victims of abortion, obviously, are women. But they were talking about the impact on a woman's psyche, on her soul, on her spirit, when she destroys a child that she has conceived and the way in which she frustrates the divine purpose for her life. There's no greater privilege that a woman has than to conceive and bear children. Let's go to David in Ohio. David, welcome to Focal Point. What's on your mind?
Well, when a pastor is woefully silent about voting for pro-life candidates, Proverbs 31:8 in the NIV says, speak up for those who can't speak for themselves. He is not doing what the Bible says we are to do. He's being pro-choice, which is pro-death.
Mm-hmm.
If you try to sit on a wooden fence in between pro-life and pro-choice, you get wooden splinters, which no one wants. If a pastor won't speak up for the weakest and most vulnerable members of our society, who will he speak up for?
Yeah.
Abortion goes on in America because the church allows it, and they don't care enough to do more to stop it. I've been going to the abortion clinics for about 9 years here in Columbus. And it's a rare day when we see a pastor. There's one pastor that comes over from Warsaw, Ohio, which is an hour and a half away. And Pastor Bill does come over when he can, when he's not out outside the topless bars over in Warsaw. But we need more clergy out there. And if the clergy comes, the church's membership will follow them.
Mm-hmm. Well, and you're right, David, and I appreciate that. People need to be led. I mean, there's a reason why Jesus used the example of the shepherd and the sheep, because sheep are followers by nature. They need to be led. They need to have a shepherd they can trust, who will guide them, who will direct them, who will guide their steps, who will nurture them and feed them and protect them from predators. But people need to be led. Where there is no vision, people perish, is what the scriptures say. Well, let's go to, do we have Frank yet? Okay, I almost have Frank. We'll get to Frank here in just a quick second. Let's go to Frank. Frank, we can grab Frank. Frank, welcome to Focal Point with Brian Fisher. What's on your mind?
Yes, Brian. I have a problem with people, even some Christians, speaking about a baby as an it.
Yes.
That seems to always to turn me off, and it's very upsetting to some of the stuff that you played, but I know we have to know the facts.
Mm-hmm.
But also, when you say a baby's an it, a baby's a thing. It's not a human being. So that's
it's a way to depersonalize the baby. And and we heard this doctor after it's born referring to it as a fetus. Again, a fetus.
Right.
People think. I mean, a fetus. What it means in Latin is a baby. So it means a person, but people think of a fetus as a thing. It's a way of depersonalizing the baby, dehumanizing it.
Right. What I'm trying to say is we consider a baby an it. It's a thing, and when also we demoralize a human being by calling a baby an it.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Some of the language that I hear some Christians saying it's very demoralizing.
Yeah.
So,
well, listen, that's a good call, Frank, and that's a good reminder, and thank you for that. You know, I always have to be careful about the language you use, and we're all going to slip sometimes and so forth. But, you know, Frank's exactly right. That baby is a he or a she from the moment of conception. It's a human being in its earliest stage of development. You know, it's interesting when a woman is pregnant and she wants to keep the baby, everybody oohs and ahs and they goo and they giggle and they laugh and they pat the tummy, and it's always a baby. And what are you going to name her? What are you going to name him? Is it a boy? Is it a girl? They never ask, is it a thing? And they don't ask, will it be a boy or will it be a girl? You notice that? They always say, is it a boy or a girl? Right now, as you were carrying that baby in your womb, it's either a boy or a girl. Which is it? And was it Kate Middleton? Is she the one that's pregnant? The member of the royal family over there? Is that who's carrying the baby right now? And again, you know, when she conceived, I mean, everybody was excited. They were thrilled. Front page story. She's pregnant. She's carrying the heir or an heir. Nobody referred to it as an it. It was a baby from the moment everybody knew. I mean, I don't know how long she'd been pregnant when she found out, but very early in pregnancy, and it was a baby. It was an heir. It was a person. It was a human being. Why? Simply because it was wanted. But the reality is that is a baby in there. It's a he or a she. And the people were breathlessly hanging on every word to see if she would tip the hand about whether it's a boy or whether it was a girl, because everybody knows it's a baby in there. Whether it is wanted or not, it is a baby. Well, that's it for the first hour. We'll be back with more right after the news. Stay with us. You are listening to Focal Point on AFR Talk with Brian Fisher.
American Family Radio, AFR Talk.